On today's bonus Locked On Jayhawks, Arterio Morris picks Kansas. I'm going to tell you why I'm not too fond of that decision.
You are Locked On Jayhawks, your daily podcast on the Kansas Jayhawks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You can hear me as well Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. on KLWN in Lawrence with Rock Chalk Sports Talk. You can find Locked On Jayhawks wherever you get any of your podcasts. You can also subscribe to us and find us on YouTube. The news today, or I guess breaking now as of Friday evening, is that Arterio Morris, the 6'3", 190-pound guard who will be a sophomore this next season, former five-star transfer from Texas, has all the accolades you can imagine coming in from high school, picked Kansas over DePaul. I don't love it for KU. From basketball perspective, Arterio Morris has very high potential to be a very good basketball player for Kansas. I have no doubt in my mind about that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Arterio Morris ends up being, at some point an all Big 12 player, even an all-American level player at Kansas. Like Bill Self can get that potential out of a kid who, was listed as the number 16 recruit in the country, a five-star that in one of the evaluations said he could end up being the best lead guard of the class, right? It's not crazy to think. The reason I do not like this is the off-the-court stuff. And I think if you are Kansas, you're constantly in a position, you can use your scholarship on a lot of great players. There's a lot of good players out there. Why does it have to be the one who has the off-the-court stuff? Now, we talked a little bit about this on Friday's episode. We talked a little bit more about this. Check out the Arterio Morris deep dive. But I guess first things first, what happened here? So Arterio Morris ended up picking between seemingly Kansas and DePaul. There were some murmurs that it was going to be DePaul. Then kind of last minute, seems like something swayed, and he ended up picking KU. Now, you wonder what is the idea for him. Obviously, he goes from a place at Texas to where he, probably would have had a very big role on this year's team when Jabari Rice graduates away. Obviously, they added Max Asmus. Who knows if they would have added or not added him if Arterio Morris would have stayed. But Jabari Rice gone, Marcus Carr gone, Tyrese Hunter testing and everything. He comes into Kansas, and there's no guarantee he's going to be a starter. I'd imagine it'll be a competition between him and Elmarco Jackson for the starting two role. Maybe Timberlake will play some 2 minutes. Maybe Timberlake starts at the three, plays some three. We'll kind of find out. So he ends up picking Kansas. He is a 6'3" guard. Last season as a freshman, 12 minutes per game. He shot 41%, 33% from three, 79% at the foul line, 4 points per game. You add him on the Bart Torvik roster cast, and it doesn't change them at all in terms of their standing of where they are. They're the same team in terms of ranking with or without him. So again, is the baggage kind of worth it? We'll get more into the fit and how he'll fit in, I think, on Monday's episode. I kind of want the weekend just to debrief on this and think more about it and look into more stuff on that in that regards. Obviously, you have questions about the shooting, but you don't have questions about anything else. Good defender and all that sort of stuff that he'll be able to work in, and KU will be able to make everything fit. And they'll play a lot of Elmarco and Arterio Morris at the two. You'll probably play a lot of Nicholas Timberlake at the three. Who knows? Maybe you'll even get some lineups with DeJuan, Arterio Morris, and Elmarco Jackson. And then, I don't know, whichever one wins out on the backup point guard minutes for those 5 to 8 minutes a game behind DeJuan between Elmarco and Arterio will pick up some extra minutes that way. That'll be the usage. We'll get more into the fit again on Monday's show. Here is the reason why I am not a fan of this move. Because again, from a basketball perspective, 3 years left to play, great potential, Bill Self type of player, good defender, good athlete, all those things. Here's the story from the Austin American-Statesman from last summer. Incoming Texas freshman Arterio Morris was arrested by Frisco police in early June and charged with misdemeanor assault after a physical altercation with his ex-girlfriend, according to police reports. According to an arrest affidavit obtained by the American Statesman, Frisco police responded to a domestic disturbance at 5:30 p.m. on June 2nd. Morris told officers that he lived nearby and drove to Caden Barnes' residence to have a face-to-face conversation as opposed to text messaging. Barnes' sister let Morris into the townhome. He then went upstairs to speak with Barnes, who was sleeping at the time. Barnes told police that Morris, quote, grabbed her by the left forearm/wrist and pulled her up off the bed, according to the affidavit. Morris grabbed at Barnes' sports bra near her chest and pulled, causing the strap to make what police described as a 3-inch long abrasion on her neck, according to the affidavit. Morris initially denied there was any physical contact, according to the affidavit. Presented with Barnes' allegations, Morris then, quote, altered his initial statement, end quote, to police, the affidavit said. He was then placed under arrest and charged with assault causing bodily injury to a family member, which is a Class A misdemeanor in Texas. Class A misdemeanors can result in maximum 1-year jail term and a $4,000 fine. Denton County jail records show that Morris posted a $3,500 bond and was released June 3rd. All right, let's get more into that in a second here. Real quick, Locked On Jayhawks brought to you by Built Bar. Are you looking for a delicious snack but don't want all the sugars and calories? You got to try Built Bar, the best tasting protein bar out there. They're covered in 100% real chocolate. They come in unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, cookies, and cream. And they only have 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. It's going to be better than snacking on some candy or a cookie or a brownie or something throughout the day. It's going to taste just as good, but it's going to be way healthier for you. You can order all the custom flavors at built.com. If it's easier for you, order to your door, built.com. But if it's easier to go into the local store, check them out yourself. Pick up a 4-bar box in the pharmacy section at Walmart of cookies and cream, double chocolate bar, coconut puff, or head to a Sam's Club, stock up on a 13-bar box with hit flavors like brownie batter puff and churro puff. Okay, so more into that. So part of this is the legal process is still playing out here. And I guess there is a chance in theory, if it goes to court, what if he does go to jail? You know what I mean? Like, you know how bad of a look that would be at that point for KU if he goes to jail at that point? Now, who knows if that's going to happen? It does seem like it's trending in the direction that everything's going to kind of slide here and he's going to be okay. I don't know. And if he does get off free, is it going to be a situation where Kansas just points to it and says, well, court of law said that he's totally innocent, so what should we have anything to do with it? Here's my problem with that. Sports teams don't operate on the same way as the law. The law is a 100%, like you have to be, without a doubt, to be convicted. Sports are a privilege. Playing at the University of Kansas is a privilege. It is not a rite of passage. And so when I see this, and again, Kansas can bring on so many other players with the scholarship. It's like, really, this is what you're going to do? And Kansas doesn't have to operate under the same, like there have been guys who have been kicked off for less than domestic assault from the Kansas basketball team. And that's what's head scratching here. Bill Self has taken that stuff seriously in the past. So I'm not trying to say that he's let stuff slide or anything like that. Like he's taken it very seriously. There have been players kicked off the team. J.R. Giddens, LeGerald Vick, Brandon Green. Basically you go down the list for doing stuff. And so I don't know if they're viewing this as, well, it wasn't under our watch. As long as he doesn't do it under our watch, because we're trying to help him, give him a second chance, all that stuff, right? So you don't know how this is going to play out. It would have made more sense for KU to wait a little bit longer. And then even then, I probably would have been kind of out on this because we know in the court of law, a lot of times this stuff can get, it's hard to convict people, I guess would be the way of putting it. There's also talk about like videos that are not out there, scrubbed from the internet or whatnot. Did it have to do with this situation? Did it not have to do with this situation? Right. Just a lot of stuff that you don't love around this circumstance. If you're KU, why bring this? All right. We're going to take one more time out and then finish up. This is Locked On Jayhawks. So again, don't love this at all. You have all the questions now that KU is going to have to answer in this regard. And it's just it's a headache. It's a distraction from what this team could be. It's a lot for a kid who does have a very high potential, but also is a chance to be a bench guard for you. What does this mean for the scholarships? Again, we'll get more into that on like Monday necessarily, but if they want to create more room and add still Jalen Tyson and Hunter Dickinson, I'm sure there's ways they can get around working that. But I mean, this is just kind of a gross thing to me to feel about for KU. And I talked on Friday's episode about how, yes, I do believe in second chances. And I think that's very important, but does that second chance have to be at KU, right? Like, is there a better way to do the second chances? And also like, doesn't feel like there's a lot of remorse here to really want a second chance. You know what I mean? Like it feels more like the situation of like, well, there's no wrongdoing here. So why would I have a second chance? And that makes me feel worse because like different stuff. So I hate like comparing crime and stuff, but like, for instance, Jalen Wilson had the DUI, learned from that, became a better person, became, somebody who advocates against stuff like that and became a leader on the team. He used that second chance into being a better person. I don't know. I don't know, man. I absolutely hate this. I hate that we now have to, when we're discussing the team, this is going to get brought up nationally. This is going to get brought up in ESPN broadcasts and stuff. This is going to be something that follows them in a shadow. This is going to be something that, is kind of a black cloud that hangs over you a little bit. And I really don't get it. There are other good guards out there for you to go get. There are other good players for you to go out there, other good wings to go get. Like, why? That's all I want to know. Why? Is it just because you go to basketball? Yeah, there's the answer. All right, that's going to do it for Locked On Jayhawks. Not a super happy episode, I guess, with your bonus episode here on a Friday. We'll be back Monday. I'll break down the fit and everything. I just didn't really want to get into it today. All right, Locked On Jayhawks. Have a good one. Find us wherever you get any of your podcasts, at D Johnson Radio on Twitter, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Later.